So we are looking at the operon concept. Now this operon concept, it was proposed by Jacob and Monod in 1961. Now what does this operon concept talk about? This operon concept, it talks about the regulation of gene expression. Now what is the meaning of gene regulation of gene expression? Now if we have a DNA and if we have these genes, now these genes are responsible for the formation of protein, or we can say enzyme. So these genes are responsible for the formation of proteins or enzymes. Now based on whether there is a requirement of these enzymes, whether there is a requirement of these proteins, based on that the cell, it will synthesize the protein or an enzyme, because the whole process of protein synthesis, it requires energy expenditure. So there is an energy expenditure for the process of protein synthesis to take place. So the cell will have to conserve the energy. If the enzyme or a protein is not required, then the cell has to ensure that the energy expenditure is minimized. That is, the protein and enzyme synthesis does not take place in that case. So that phenomena, we call it as, technically we call it as turning on and off of the gene expression. So whenever the protein is required, we call it as on, switch on, and whenever the protein is not required, we call it as switch off. So this mechanism of gene expression basically means it is switching off and switching on of the genes to produce protein or an enzyme. A mechanism to conserve energy when enzymes are not required in metabolic reaction. So that is the basic understanding of meaning of the gene expression. Now there is something called as lac operon. Now this lac operon is also referred to as lactose operon. Lac is a short form of lactose. Now it was studied by Jacob and Monod in case of Escherichia coli. This is a bacterium. So this bacteria, they studied the gene expression in case of Escherichia coli, and it was referred as the control of genes during the lactose metabolism. So it is whether there is a presence of lactose or whether there is absence of lactose in the medium. Based on that, there is a gene regulation, and that we call it as lactose operon. Now this operon, what is this lactose operon? It is a group of closely linked structural and control genes. If you look at this structure here, so now if you look at these, this is a structure of DNA with several genes. Now this part is R, this is a regulatory gene. That means it is going to produce, or it will give rise to a protein which is called a regulatory protein or regulator protein. Now this site on the DNA, we call this as a promoter. Now this site adjacent to the promoter, we call this as an operator. So these, the regulator, the promoter and operator, now these we call them as control genes. Regulator, promoter and operator, we call them as control genes. And these genes, like for example Z, Y, A, these are referred to as the structural genes. Now structural genes are those genes which give rise to protein or it gives rise to enzyme by the process of transcription, which is continued as by translation. So this is the actual, these are the actual genes which are going to give rise to proteins, and these are the genes which are which are going to control the synthesis of proteins. They are going to control the formation of different types of enzymes. For example, we have Z as beta galactosidase, Beta galactosidase is an enzyme which is produced by this gene here. Y, it produces an enzyme called lac permease, and A, it produces an enzyme called transacetylase. Now all these enzymes are required for the process of lactose metabolism. Now what is the role of beta galactosidase? Now beta galactosidase, what it does is it breaks down the lactose in presence of B-gal. B-gal is beta galactosidase. It gives rise to glucose and galactose. So by breaking down the lactose, it makes glucose available to the bacteria. Lac permease, it facilitates the absorption of more and more lactose. So if this is a bacterium and if this is the lactose in the medium, so in presence of this enzyme, what will happen? It will allow more and more lactose to enter into the bacterial cell. Transacetylase, it is responsible for transfer of acetyl group to galactosides. Now the function is largely unknown, but they have, at the biochemistry level, they have understood that it has a role in transferring the acetyl group. So these are the different types of enzymes, and so this is the beta galactosidase. This is going to give rise to beta galactosidase. This is going to give rise to lac permease, and this is going to give rise to transacetylase. Now, how does the process of lac operon work? Function. So lac operon, there are two cases. In first case, there is a glucose in the medium. Imagine that there is a glucose in the medium. There is a bacterium and there is a glucose in the medium. In the second case, we have, instead of glucose, there is lactose in the medium. So we are all aware that this glucose, by the process of this, undergoes a process called glycolysis, and by the process of glycolysis, it results in the formation of ATP. So in short, we can say that if there is glucose in the medium, then it is an instant source of ATP. But lactose, this is a disaccharide. This is a disaccharide. That means in order to convert it into glucose, this disaccharide, it has to undergo hydrolysis. So this will hydrolyze and then it will give rise to glucose. And therefore, the enzymes are required for the breakdown of this lactose into glucose. And that is the role which is performed by beta galactosidase. So in presence of glucose in the medium, these enzymes are not required. So what is that mechanism referred as switch off? Switch off meaning is the enzymes not required. And when there is lactose in the medium, then what is the condition? That these enzymes are required. So glucose in the medium, instant source of energy. So energy is available now, and so it does not require beta galactosidase. And because this glucose is a monosaccharide, it directly undergoes glycolysis. In case of lactose, it is a disaccharide. First, it has to hydrolyze, and for that, the enzyme is required. And what is that enzyme? Beta galactosidase. So therefore, we can study this lac operon under two headings, that is case 1 and case 2. So if we consider case 1, so if we consider this as a case 1, what is the case 1 indicates that this is the bacterium, this is Escherichia coli, this is the bacterium, and this is a petri dish. This is the nutrient medium, we can say. This is the nutrient medium, and then we have glucose in the medium. So these bacteria in the nutrient medium, they have readily available. So it is ready, glucose is readily, we can say glucose is readily available. So in case of glucose which is readily available, as I told you earlier, that this glucose can directly undergo the process of glycolysis, and it can produce energy which the bacteria can use for its growth and metabolism. So glucose in the medium, instant source of energy, undergoes glycolysis, produces ATP which can be used for metabolism or it can be used for growth. So what is important in this case, when glucose is present, then when glucose is present, enzymes are not required. This is very important. When glucose is present in the medium, which is already a monosaccharide, it directly undergoes glycolysis, produces ATP. So these enzymes are not required. What is the role of enzymes? Enzymes are required only in that case where the sugar is disaccharide, but in this case it is monosaccharide. So therefore, a mechanism works in such a way that the whole process of transcription is hindered. The whole process of transcription is stopped. And when transcription is stopped, there is no translation, there is no protein formation. So how does this work at the gene level? So in presence of glucose, now what will happen to this regulatory gene? Regulatory gene, it will produce a protein, and that protein is called regulatory protein, or it is also referred as a repressor protein. So in presence of glucose in the medium, this gene, that is the regulatory gene, this undergoes transcription, it undergoes translation, and finally it produces a protein. This is referred as a repressor protein. This repressor protein, now immediately it goes and binds the junction of promoter operator site. So this is, it goes and binds the promoter operator junction. So this repressor gene protein, repressor gene produces a repressor protein, or a regulatory gene produces a repressor protein. This repressor protein instantly, in presence of glucose, instantly goes and binds promoter operator junction. Now when promoter operator junction is blocked, then the RNA polymerase, which is required for transcription, RNA polymerase is required for transcription. So when this part is already occupied by a repressor protein, then the RNA polymerase is unable to bind the promoter, and therefore the process of transcription is blocked, and therefore there is no transcription and no translation. So what is the end result? In presence of glucose, no transcription, no translation, and as required by the cell, that is, enzymes are not formed, because as I already explained, enzymes are not required. So in presence of glucose, what is the gist you will remember? In presence of glucose, which is an instant source of energy, enzymes are not required. Repressor protein binds the promoter operator junction. RNA polymerase fails to bind the promoter, will not undergo, mRNA will not undergo transcription, translation, and as a result of which the process of protein synthesis or enzyme formation is hindered, or it is stopped. This is called switch off mechanism. This is called switch off, as you can see here. This is referred as switch off mechanism. Now what happens in presence of lactose? Now in presence of lactose in the medium, now this is a lactose, as you can see again, this is Escherichia coli, this is the bacterium. There is a nutrient medium always there. So in presence of lactose, already I have explained that this lactose is a disaccharide, and this lactose has to be broken down into a monosaccharide, that is glucose and galactose. And this can happen in presence of beta galactosides. This is an enzyme. So what is the end result? That if lactose is in the medium, then there is a requirement of beta galactosides. That means these enzymes are required to be synthesized. So in that case, when lactose is there in the medium, again what happens? This regulatory protein, it produces, this regulatory gene produces a protein, and that protein is a repressor protein. But in this case, lactose, it acts as an inducer. Now what do I mean by inducer? This lactose, it chemically modifies into a molecule. It is called allolactose. That is, the two lactose molecules, they combine and they form a molecule called allolactose. Now this allolactose, it goes and binds to the sites which are present. There are receptors present on the repressor protein. So this allolactose, it goes and binds. So as you can see here, this is the receptor and this is the allolactose. So again, this is the receptor and these are the allolactose. This is the receptor and this is the allolactose. So allolactose as an inducer, what it does, it goes and binds to the receptors on the repressor protein. So when the allolactose binds to the receptor of repressor protein, this repressor protein, it undergoes something called as conformational change. Now this change in three-dimensional structure. So the change in three-dimensional structure of repressor protein, what is this called? This is called a conformational change. So now when the when allolactose binds to the receptors of repressor protein, it undergoes conformational change, and as a result of which it is not able to bind the promoter operator junction. So when the repressor protein fails to bind the promoter operator junction, RNA polymerase, which is already there in the cell, it goes and directly binds to the promoter operator junction. And what is the role of this RNA polymerase? This RNA polymerase brings about the transcription and the translation of these enzymes, as a result of which beta galactosidase is formed, lac permease is formed, and trans-acetylase is formed. What is the role of beta galactosidase? This beta galactosidase, which is formed, now it breaks down this lactose into glucose and galactose. So disaccharide is broken down into monosaccharide in presence of beta galactosidase. What is the role of lac permease? Lac permease, it will allow, or it will facilitate, it will make the bacterial cell more and more permeable. So more and more lactose will enter into the medium. So that is the role of this. And the third one is trans-acetylase. It brings about the acetylation without much detailed role, which is still being explored. So in general, what is the role in presence of lactose? What happens? Which acts as an inducer with a modified allolactose. Allolactose binds to the repressor protein, prevents the binding of repressor to the promoter operator junction. RNA polymerase immediately binds, brings about transcription and translation. So the enzyme formation or protein formation takes place. This is referred as the mechanism as switch on. So on one hand, in presence of glucose, it is switch off, and in presence of lactose, it is switch on. So the gene is being switched off, or a gene is being switched on based on the type of molecule which is present in the medium. That switch on and switch off is referred to as regulatory of gene expression. Now this type of operon, we call it as inducible. Lac operon is referred as, this is referred as inducible operon. That is because of presence of allolactose. And this allolactose, it prevents the binding of the repressor protein and brings about transcription. There is second type of operon, we call it as trip operon, or in general We call it as tryptophan operon. Now this tryptophan operon, it is referred as a repressible operon. That means it will prevent the process of transcription. Lac operon is inducible operon. Trip operon is repressible operon. Similarly, there are two cases in this. Just we'll go through case 1 and case 2. In case 1, when the tryptophan levels are low. Now this tryptophan is an amino acid which is produced in the cells. So when the tryptophan, it is very important for protein synthesis. So if this tryptophan levels in the cell are low, then what happens? It will directly affect the synthesis of protein. So the cell, what it requires that this tryptophan is synthesized at a very rapid pace. So this tryptophan is synthesized in presence of a combined enzymes. As you can see here, A, B, C, D, E, this group of enzymes, they combined, we can say polypeptide chains of these series of enzymes. They combine and they form a functional enzyme. We refer this as tryptophan synthetase. So just remember, tryptophan is synthesized in presence of tryptophan synthetase, and this tryptophan synthetase is brought about by the binding of multiple polypeptides of A, B, C, D, and E. So only when A, B, C, D, E proteins subunits are formed, only then this tryptophan synthetase will be functional. So what happens in case 1? So when the tryptophan levels are low. So when tryptophan levels are low, same gene regulatory protein, this is the regulatory gene which gives rise to repressible protein. Now this repressible protein is referred as aporepressor, meaning that when the tryptophan level is low, this repressible protein, it acts as an aporepressor, meaning that it does not bind to the promoter operator junction. So when the tryptophan levels in the cell are low, this repressible or repressor protein called aporepressor fails to bind the promoter operator junction. In that case, RNA polymerase will bind to the promoter operator junction and the process of transcription and translation takes place. All these enzymes subunits are formed and it produces a functional enzyme called tryptophan synthetase, and which produces an amino acid called tryptophan. So in case 1, what is the gist? When the tryptophan levels are low, the repressible protein or repressor protein, which acts as an aporepressor, does not bind the promoter operator junction. So when it fails to bind the promoter operator junction, RNA polymerase will bind to the same promoter operator junction, and it brings about the transcription and translation of these enzyme subunits, so that it gives rise to a functional enzyme called tryptophan synthetase, which in turn brings about the synthesis of tryptophan. So tryptophan levels low, enzyme formed, tryptophan synthesized. When the tryptophan levels in the cells are very high, so when the tryptophan levels, when this amino acid tryptophan, when the levels are high, so if the cell requires 100 and instead of 100, if there are 110, then the cells are highly sensitive to the levels of these tryptophan. So what happens when the levels reach 110 or it goes beyond 100? This tryptophan, please remember, this tryptophan, which is in excess, it acts as a co-repressor. What is the meaning of that? When the tryptophan levels in the cells are high, when it goes beyond 100, if it is 101 or 102 or 105 or 10, the excess tryptophan will bind the receptor sites of aporepressor or repressible protein. Now what happens? Now this co-repressor, when it binds to this aporepressor, now this aporepressor is in a position to go and bind the promoter operator junction. So in presence of co-repressor, it will bind the promoter operator junction. and when it binds the promoter operator junction, RNA polymerase cannot bind. RNA polymerase, it fails to bind the promoter operator junction. And when it fails to bind the promoter operator junction, then these protein subunits of the enzymes, they are not transcribed, not translated. So the no enzymes, no tryptophan synthetase is formed, and there is no synthesis of tryptophan. So tryptophan levels increase, no enzyme is formed, no tryptophan synthetase is formed, and no tryptophan synthesis occurs. Now this, we call it as repressible protein. So what is the difference here? If you look at the difference in general, inducible protein, if you look at inducible operon, we call it as inducible operon. In case of inducible operon, allolactose, what happens? It binds to the repressor protein. Allolactose binds to the repressor protein, as a result of which this repressor protein, it fails to bind promoter operator junction. So what happens? RNA polymerase will bind. RNA polymerase will bind the promoter operator junction, and when RNA binds the promoter operator junction, what happens? The process of enzyme formation, we say enzymes are formed. So allolactose, it is an inducible molecule or a compound. Now what do I mean by repressible protein or operon? In case of repressible operon, what happens to tryptophan? This tryptophan, it binds the repressor protein. What happens to the repressor protein? Repressor protein goes and binds the promoter operator junction. When it binds the promoter operator junction, RNA polymerase fails to bind promoter operator junction. And when it fails to bind promoter operator junction, no enzymes are formed. So in short, what is this referred as? We call it as switch off, repressible. And in short, what is this referred as? Enzymes formed. We call it as switch on. The example for this is trip operon. We call this as trip operon. And the example for inducible operon is lac operon. So these are the two important concepts, with the questions based on which are asked on the NEET, in the NEET examination, or previously AIMS and JIPMER examinations. So you have to go through this concept in detail, try to understand the concept, read it, practice it, and you'll be able to answer the questions. Thank you.